Formula. Life creation formula. I think first things first. First thing first is why life creation formula? Where does it come from? What's the point? And what's the importance of the life creation formula for you? First of all, when you get taught things in school, I think once you leave school for a while, you realize, damn, that was pointless. But it's too late. You already got trained and conditioned for all those years in school. So now what? There is a small group of people who run the world, and what they teach their kids is how to create reality. And so today, what we're going to talk about is really two parts of knowledge. So if you can only think with the knowledge you're given. So think of it this way: you can only think of with the knowledge you're given. If you don't have the knowledge about, let's say, chemistry, the laws of chemistry, well, you can't mix chemicals to make H2O, to make ammonia, to make pine sol, to make any cleaning supplies or make anything. You can't do it because you don't have the knowledge of those elements. So that's one thing to realize. If you don't have the knowledge about, let's say, your human rights, then you can't talk about your human rights or defend yourself or defend your human rights because you don't have the knowledge about them. So if you have no knowledge about a subject, then you can't think with that knowledge. You can't think with the content. So how do you control a population in the way they think? You control what information they have to think with. So a lot of the information that you think with or that you have to think with is just information that they gave you, and it's not information that you actually need to change your life. Now, here's another little trick. The information that you really want that will change your life and change your circumstances, that information is called pseudoscience oftentimes. And here's what you'll notice. You'll notice in the 30s, if you go back to the 20s and 30s when a lot of books on the mind were written, you'll see a flash in the pan of they just realized the mind and thought is everything. And then all of a sudden it just goes away. And you don't see people writing about that stuff for a very long time. They go into really scientific sounding experiments about psychology and sociology and stuff like that. So that's what happened after that. So that's what ended up happening. So when you see that, what happened? Why didn't they continue to talk about the mind and thoughts and how powerful thoughts are and how we can use it? Because they don't want you to know about that information. Another thing they don't want you to know about is homeopathy, for instance. So homeopathy works with the principle of vibration, healing and curing the same like vibration. So if you had poison ivy and you would get a rash on your skin, well, if you took a tincture that was diluted with the poison ivy tincture or the poison ivy frequency in it, and you took that tincture, well, it would absorb the effects or the symptoms of poison ivy back into a frequency, so you would no longer have poison ivy. Now, who uses that? A lot of the what you call it, royal families and super rich people use homeopathy, but they don't tell you about it. So it's not big in the news. It's not big on TikTok. It's not big in the health circles. Why? Because it doesn't get that's actually cheaper for you to manage and succeed by using homeopathy than it is to use these types of medicines that really don't heal you. But do they want you to know that? Absolutely not. They don't want you to know that. Why would they tell you about that? It will mess up the whole industry. So it's a lot of people who make a lot of money on industries. Really, and the industry is you. So it's a lot of people who make a lot of money on you, off of you. So how do they do that? They make sure you don't have the information in the first place. Or they'll advertise a lot of different random information. It's not really helpful, but it's interesting. So you get health circles talking about various different things. So what's the point? The point is, what's the most important knowledge to know? Well, it's different opinions on that. Here's my opinion. My opinion is I would like to know how the universe works. I don't want to know what you think about it. I don't want to know what you believe about it. I want to know how the universe works for real. That's what I want to know. Here's what I found. Now I went on a deep dive I've read over 1,000 books on psychology, spirituality, quantum mechanics, and business. That was my subjects. The reason I studied those subjects is because I needed to know how things really worked by law, not based on what somebody told me was the case. So here we go. When you read and you find, this is what you'll find. You'll find that there is an infinite starting point. This can be called God, it can be called the universe, it can be called whatever you want it to be called. This is the starting point. This starting point, which is, let's say, God, manifests itself as spirit. And spirit's name, or God's name, is I am. This is who you are. So infinite, I amness. The infinite is God. The I amness is the expression of God. And you can say that is the ether, that's the subconscious. You can call it a lot of different things, but it's ultimately man. This is what they would call Christ. This is what they would call Krishna consciousness. This is your enlightened consciousness. It's your enlightened beingness. This is who you are. Now, every single one of us is this beingness. Now, what happens, this beingness manifests in a universe that is created. So, this infinite beingness manifests in a universe. This universe is run by laws. The law that governs the universe is the law of attraction. That is the universe. And this universe will manifest centers of creation. Centers of creation. So, why does the sun that we have in our galaxy manifest the way it does? And why do other galaxies have suns that manifest the way they do in their galaxies? Why is that the case? And how come there aren't suns everywhere? It's only in certain spots. That means there was selective choice, intelligent selective choice. That intelligent selective choice, you can say, is done by law. It's an infinite intelligent law. This is the manager of the universe, law. Okay? Now, this law manifests centers of divine creation. Now, what that is on a human level, it is desire. So, what is our natural, innate, instinctive desire? Our desire is to expand. Why is our desire to expand? Our desire to expand is there because we are infinite. Now, if we are infinite in finite, limited bodies, what's our natural instinct? Our natural instinct and impulse is to expand. That's our natural instinct. So the desire you have is for expansion and freedom. That's your innate desire. It's built in. It never goes away. All right. Now, this desire manifests in your thinking. Now we're going to look at this layer, this funnel. Here you are as a physical human being in the physical world. The desire gets dropped into the first rung of the golden funnel. Now, if you want to know what this is, what you're seeing here is called the golden funnel. This is not anywhere. This is something that came to me while I was in the house asking God, what is it how does the universe work? I want to learn how to create myself. And based on the laws of the universe and how things work, this is what came to me. Now, you can validate this yourself. You don't have to believe this because it's irrelevant to believe anything. All you gotta do is look at it, try it out, and see if it worked for you, or see if you've done this before. Okay? Tell me, correct me if I'm wrong. Your desire for liberation led you to thinking, and this is the law of the individual. The law of the individual is thinking. The law is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay? That is the law. You see? That is the law. So when you operate in the law of thinking, what you think you become. What you think about most of the time, you become. So the law is the law of thinking. Now, you want to be free. What you think will make you free becomes the law of your life. If you think that substances that you take and ingest are the only way to make you free, you are trapped and imprisoned by that thinking. If you subconsciously think that a relationship is going to finally make you complete, you are trapped by that thinking. It's the law of your being. If you think that stealing will make you more money, which will make you free, you are trapped by that thinking. Is everybody following? Is everybody following? Is that considered a cornerstone? This is the law of your life. Period, point blank, it's the law of your life. You can test that in any way you want. Don't believe me about this. I would not recommend believing anything I say today. What I would recommend is checking with yourself to see if this is true. And what you'll notice is, yeah, it actually is true. This is how it works. So, thinking, your thought of what will make you free, because that's your basic desire, is the law of your life. If you think going to church and believing in Jesus Christ to save you will free you and is the way to freedom, you are trapped by that thinking. You have to live within that thinking. There's no way out of this law. So what the problem is your thinking, although it may be sincere, can be sincerely wrong. And so you end up having a life you don't like. Why? Because you're thinking wrong. You believe the way you're thinking is the way to freedom, but how's that working out for you? How free do you feel on a day-to-day basis? When you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? When you wake up, when you walk through the day, are you walking through the day open, feeling so blessed and so grateful and blessed and lucky, and you can't believe your life and you love being yourself? Do you feel that way? Most people cannot say they feel that way. And the reason they don't feel that way is because they don't think that way. They think that things on the outside have to change, a government has to change, other people in their lives have to change in order for them to feel good and free. And that is the law of your thinking. So your thinking, the only way your thinking is going to work for you is if you align your thinking with the way things actually are in the universe, with universal law. So this is personal law, which is the law of thinking. This is universal law, which is the law of attraction. This is the law of attraction. If you do not feel free and you feel trapped, you are attracting limitation. And what's causing you to attract limitation? Your thinking. So these two work together. The law of your thinking and the law of attraction. Okay? So now, what's next? The law of your thinking manifests your why. And so the way you think, I think that making money is gonna make me feel free. Okay, so now your why is money. Can you see that? I think that the relationship is gonna make me free. So now your why is love, romantic love. Can you see how this works? Okay, you think if I could just get healthy and get over this illness, I'm gonna be free. So your why becomes to get healthy. If you think my family, having a family who loves me is gonna make me feel free and loving, free and in love, and your why becomes your family. Can you see how the way you think determines what your why is? Can everybody see this? What you think is going to give you the most freedom becomes your why. Can you see that? Put yes in the chat if y'all can see this. Put yes in the chat if you can see this. So, whatever your why is, when you think about your why, how do you feel? Because your why is a vibration. It's a vibration. Now, what happens next? So now you have a thought. I believe that this relationship is going to make me feel the most free. This money and this business is going to free me up. Whatever it is you believe or think is going to free you up becomes your why. and you have feelings about it. Now, the way you feel determines what you get. If you were to know what you think is going to make you free, and every time you think about that why you feel good, you are attracting that thing. What's some examples of my why? That's a good question. So it was a point where I thought money would make me feel free. So all I thought about was building a business. So every waking second of the day went to that. My relationship, if you were getting in a relationship with me, you're going to have to do what I'm doing, or I'm not talking to you because I'm doing this. This is what I believe is going to make me free. So my relationships were subservient to my mission in life to make money and liberate myself financially. That was my number one why at a time. So if I were to come in contact with a girl who liked me and I liked her, I would filter it through, are you going in the direction I'm going? Because if not, I don't have time for this. My thoughts were all on the business. So I ended up being with a person who helped me, very clearly helped me in business. So that's one way that my why drove my decisions. So another one I had when I was younger, I thought that my relationship and the woman I was with was gonna make me feel totally free. Okay. So when I thought that the woman I was with was gonna make me totally free, all my thoughts and my reasoning went through the filter of, is this person the person of my dreams? Is this person gonna be the person I'm gonna be with for the rest of my life? Is she a match to me? And that was what all of my thoughts were filtered through. So I neglected everything else, business, work, my health, everything for love. I'm committed to love. Did it work? No. But that did drive, that was my why. And it drove me to doing what was in alignment with me creating the relationship I wanted in my life. Okay. So that was another way that my why created the way. Um, and then recently, now my why is different. My why is to totally align and be obedient to God in service to his human beings. That is my number one why. Now, the way I think that's happening, it's being revealed for me, for that to happen for me, is God gave me a family to take care of. Not that interested. I wanted a relationship and family, but when I commit to God, God gives me a family to take care of and pour into. So grateful for that. And secondly, God gives me the ability to help people like you understand things like this so you can transform your life and take control of your mind and take control of the results you get in your outcomes. Because people are keeping this information from you and they're keeping it hidden from you. So I'm bent on a mission to help you understand and capture this type of thinking. So you can create what you want in your life. Now, does that mean everybody's gonna listen? 80% of people in this live right now are not gonna listen to me. Not gonna hear anything that I say. They're not gonna pick up what I'm putting down, and that's fine. But somebody will. There's always somebody in the chat who you're sick and tired of the situation you're in. You're done with it. You're ready to change it. You feel a calling inside you. You're ready for real liberation. You realize money don't do it. Any externals won't do it. You're ready for your purpose and mission and be in total alignment so you can liberate all of your capabilities that God has in you because you are God. If you are at that stage, I'm for you. Now, before that stage, I can teach you how to get the material things you want because that's first. Go ahead, get the money, get the relationship. You got to see what that does. If you, I'm a firm believer that if you have not made money yet, and you think money is going to liberate you, you need to make money. You can't just sit here and try to act spiritual when in the back of your mind you think and know what you're thinking that money is going to liberate you. You need to make some money with it. I'm a fan of that. Okay, so that's just some examples. Hopefully that helped you. All right. So now, what happened after you got a why? What happened after you got a why? Let's say it's a relationship, money, whatever. If you really think that that's going to liberate you, the law of attraction is, and you feel that way, the law of attraction is going to bring you the next part, which is a how. But that how happens on its own. You don't do that. Attraction brings you the how. And so you get a plan that will work. That's what ended up happening. So you get a how. Now, that how is gonna be in a relationship. But here's where people go wrong. As soon as you get the relationship, you get the how that you thought was gonna make you feel so good. What ended up happening? Does the relationship do it? Does it do it? What's up, y'all? Does it do it? Does it solve the problem? Does the money solve the problem? Temporarily. Daryl said it. Temporarily. If you have done this before and you have gone through this cycle where you keep getting temporary relief, temporary relief, and you are ready for permanent relief, if you're ready to liberate yourself, you're ready for the spiritual path. The spiritual path to success. What you done before this is called the material path to success. You think you have a desire for freedom. You don't know that that desire for freedom is really the desire for your own identity. You don't know that yet because we're not born knowing this. We don't get taught this. But you got desires for freedom. You know you want to be free. Every child is born free, wanting to be free. They don't want to be put in a car seat. They don't want to be told what to eat. They don't want to be told anything. They want to be free to do what they want to do. This is how you are naturally. So this is a natural desire. God has given you your identity in the language of your desire. Problem is, you have to match your thinking up with what will actually create and allow the freedom. And what you think will give you freedom is becomes your why. It becomes your driver. And you will get that how, but guess what? You can't determine if that how is actually going to give you the freedom. So you can believe whatever you want. But when you get it, does it solve the problem? What I noticed is it doesn't solve the problem. What the only thing that solves the problem is being who you really are, knowing who you really are, and reducing the attachment you have to things and labels. Somebody say laziness plays a role here too. Let's talk about laziness, okay? Laziness comes from this. Laziness is not really lazy. Some people are lazy, yes, but why are you lazy? Reason you're lazy is because you don't think you can get what it is you want that will give you freedom. That's it. You just don't believe you can get what you want. What's the point in taking action if I can't get what I want? So you procrastinate. This is freedom. So laziness is what? Laziness is really, I just don't believe I can do it. So why even try? That's laziness. But as soon as that person goes through these phases, so I'm about to show y'all the phases. If you have a notepad and a notepad, this is the time to pull it out because I'm going to show you how this works. And you're going to notice this in your own life. You do not have to believe this. Number one, this is the starting point of all creation. And nobody talks about it in any books. If you go on YouTube, they will not say it because they don't know it. First is you have to hate where you are. There is no way to get where you want to be without hating where you currently are first. If you are tired of going in that loop where you keep getting temporary relief, temporary relief, temporary relief, which usually comes out in the form of drugs. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Which usually come out in the form of drugs, women, cars, distraction, distraction, distraction. Just fill in the blank. When you're tired of that because it doesn't work and you're ready for the divine in your life, your divine purpose, your divine calling, people go through midlife crisis because of this. You have to hate where you are. I'm tired of this. That's number one. When you are actually tired of it, God hears you and God gives you a new identity. And that identity, which is really information about who you really are, gets communicated to you and updates your desire. So your desire informs your thinking, and you go, hold on. I think I want something different than what I've been chasing. So now this desire gets dropped into your thinking and changes the way you think. If you start to entertain a desire. So it changes the way you think. So what is your thinking? Your thinking goes, it depends on how open you are to teach, to being learned, to being taught by the divine. Do you go within and meditate? Do you go within and pray? Do you go within and seek answers? If you don't, you won't hear the message. The message is being communicated to you in the language of your desire. Ask yourself, what do I really want? That's the question. What do I really want? What do I really want? You think you want money. Why do you want money? Everybody, put in the chat what you want. Put in the chat what you actually want. Put in the chat what you actually want. I mean, if you say crying as hard as it is, you want freedom, time freedom. Come on. Okay, we want freedom. Divine say she want freedom. Ibrahim say he want freedom. Grace, that's real. That's real. Our break. Thank God. Come on. Our break. Daryl say mental peace, egoless life. Somebody say they want love. Thank you. I want to be at peace all the time. Ooh, we get into it. Money. Okay, somebody being real. You want some money. I want perfect peace. Okay, you want perfect peace. Perfect peace. Moral life, because life is the fullness thereof. Okay, good health. Okay, good health. That's a real one. Want some health. How many people want just to feel better in their bodies? A loving, secure relationship with your specific person. You're going to get that. That's too good right there. You said that was very clear. You're clear. Who are you? You are clear, whoever you are. Say your name. You are clear. You're getting that. You are getting that. It's too vague. So let's talk about some myths about being vague or specific. Everybody, you believe because you listen to a lot of things that say, and I did the same thing. They say you are supposed to be very, very specific on what you want. Okay, if you want a specific person, for instance, here's the problem with that. Kai, see Kai, I know you've been thinking about that. I can feel it just come off you. Joy, love, and peace. Okay, so let's talk about the myth. Myth is I gotta be very specific. I gotta know exactly what I want. Okay, how's that working out for you? Where you pick very specifically what you want and you try to get it, especially a specific person, a specific love interest. First of all, you like chasing it more than you like having it. Secondly, when you do have it, it's not what you thought it was. Fall apart, and then you're on to the next thing, being disillusioned, or you got to make up some story about how another lifetime. You just make up stuff. Okay, you got to make up stuff, and you see people caught in a delusion. I see this all the time. People totally in delusion. You can't save them from the delusion because they're trying to make the world make sense and fit into their box of sense. It doesn't fit there. And the truth is, you don't know what you want. You know what you would like to feel, but you don't know what you want. Okay? I'm not in the army. I thought about it, but I don't like following rules. You don't know what you want. And that's the issue. So, what should you do? You should leave what you want up to the one who created the desire in you in the first place. You should leave it to God to tell you and show you what you want in your thinking. This is why you want to. The problem you have right now is this. Right at this level where God is trying to communicate to you what it is you want, you don't listen. And reason you don't listen is because your thinking is just going all over the place. You just think. You're just thinking all the time. You always talking in your head. You are always having something go on in your mind. You're always contemplating what will happen, what if this happened, what if that happened. How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that? I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. How? I don't know how to get out of that. Well, I've never got out of debt before. My mom was in debt. I don't know how to do this. How am I supposed to do this? This is what you do. You can't hear God talking to you. There you go. You understand? And this is the issue you have. So now I'm gonna tell you a solution that is it'll work 100% of the time. Number one, if you learn how to open your thinking up, stop your thinking to let in information, meaning connect to directly to the divine, you can hear instruction. We teach you that in boot camps. So we got a boot camp coming up. It's the astrology boot camp. One of the things that God put on earth for you is your astrology chart. It's a map of the desires you have. Just how do you want freedom specifically? For me, what trapped me was the need to have my family come along with me with everything. And I always wanted it to be a community thing instead of allowing myself to stand out and be a leader. So that was one of my biggest issues. So I came to life with that problem. So my desire was to liberate myself from that. That's seen in my astrology chart. Now I learned that before I went to my astrology chart. But when I went to my astrology chart, I could see it. You can say it's confirmation bias, but point being, if it helps you or not is the point. When I looked at it, I said, that's exactly how I experienced this. I understand a little bit more. That's what we do in astrology boot camp. When you have thinking that is a mismatch to what you really want because you're thinking with your ego or how, when you are in your ego, how is ego? When you are thinking with your ego, so your thinking is a slave to your ego versus your thinking being committed to your I amness. When you let your thinking be ruled by ego, all you do is ask this question: how am I supposed to do that? I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. I can't do that. How am I supposed to do that? I've never done that. And you don't may not even say it out of your mouth, but you in your head, you feel your mind just sabotaging you and saying that you can't do it. You're not worth it. I don't know who you think you are. You need to know way more. You need way more information. You got to study way more stuff. I mean, you don't know anything. That's what your brain tells you. What that is you have become subservient to the ego. It doesn't really know the answer. And you keep asking the ego for the answer. And that sounds like this. How am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that? This blocks your blessing. Now, everybody has an ego. Now, your particular ego knows you, and it knows how to get you. It knows how to get you distracted perfectly. I know it's people I've been working with for a year, and they learned this about the ego a year ago. They still, to this day, are being tricked by the ego. It's people who got told the first day I met them, the first day I talked to them. You need to learn how to establish practical physical circumstances. So focus on that and stop being so emotional. That's a specific instruction for a specific person. Yours might be the opposite because based on how your DNA is set up, your spiritual DNA is set up, it could be opposite. But for this particular person, that was the situation. And guess what? Still to this day, emotions. I want to feel all feelings. No thinking, no strategizing, no consistency, no physical circumstances set up, no nothing, no consistency. Why? Because they still live in their ego. They think they know what they have a thinking process where they believe what will make them free is I want to feel what I want to feel. So their why becomes my truth. This is my truth. Okay? Your truth. How's that working for you? And for the majority, it's not working for you. And that's the issue. You keep talking about my truth like that matters. It doesn't. It does not matter. Okay? Now, if you want to keep doing that and it's working for you, well, get off the live because you know everything. Just keep doing it. But if you realize that doesn't work and you want to know how it really works at a higher level, if you want to learn how it works based on laws of the universe, you want to align yourself with the law, with the power of the cosmos to flow through you, well, then we can talk. Other than that, just get off the live and go do what you've been doing. Now, here's what I know: it ain't working. It ain't working. I want to know the outside of my thinking. Good. That means you're ready to change. Now, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do that. Now, two things. I'm gonna tell you what the type of people who are gonna take action on this opportunity. Okay, some of y'all are hearing me. You're gonna hear this, and you're gonna say, "Yeah, I'm ready." You're gonna message me. You're gonna direct message me, and you will not respond. You're gonna go to another live right after this. You're gonna have good intentions. You're gonna be ready to start your path, ready to start your journey. And what's gonna really happen is we're gonna break down what is blocking you specifically, and we're gonna put you a part of a group of people who take this seriously. They are creating their life. It's people who create businesses, relationships, peace of mind, clarity in their thinking. There's plenty of people who are doing this. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna hear this, and after you hear it, you're gonna jump off of here, and it won't. It's gonna be a second thought. Won't even be a second thought. Okay, that's gonna be a lot of y'all. Another group of you, and it's usually the people who are not making a lot of comments. You're probably quiet. You probably like sticking to yourself, or maybe you've been coming back often every morning. It's a couple of you who gonna say, "Okay, I'm actually ready to deep. I'm ready to go deep." Now, to do an astrology reading with me is $250. Now, some of y'all right there, you out of the picture because you it's $250 is too much to you, and that's why you'll always be where you are because you're unwilling to learn, and that's just some of you. Others of you say, okay, 250. I spent 250 on some stuff. This resonates with me. My gut is telling me yes. Okay, let me see if I can work this out. Let me figure it out. I'm gonna message him, and then we're gonna actually talk about how to do that. You're selling a business at the end of the day. No, no, I'm not. So and that's another way of thinking. So if you think like that, for instance, it's you're always worried about am I being scammed, right? Fear. So fear is dominating the thinking process. This is what you should do to figure out if you're gonna do this or not. What does your gut say? What does your gut say? Now, by the way, also, $150 is what is going to be for you if you do it with me now. So, what am I incentivizing? I'm incentivizing immediate action. Why am I incentivizing immediate action? Because people who succeed take immediate action. If you don't take immediate action, you won't succeed. So, people who take immediate action, they succeed. And what's going to be in the way of immediate action? Here it is. FEAR. It's six different fears. One is the fear of criticism. In the back of your mind, what you're doing is you're filtering, making this decision through what other people think. What does my husband think? What is my wife gonna think? What my people like me don't do stuff like this. That's why you'll stay where you are. You have a fear of criticism. Or number two, you have a fear of going broke. I don't have the money. That is a lie. You made $250. You made $150. You have spent $150 probably the last. Think about the last 4 weeks of your life. Have you spent the 150 on something that was pointless? Absolutely, you have. So the fear of going broke, I don't know. I don't have the money. It's just a story your brain tells you, but you're gonna listen to it. Some of y'all are gonna listen to this voice. Fear of going broke. Another one is the fear of losing connection to who you've been, love or connection. Okay. I don't. As far as connection is concerned, well, if I do this, who does that make me? Okay, I don't usually do stuff like this. I'm a Baptist Christian. I'm a atheist. I don't believe in stuff like this. I'm a Hindu. Does this resonate with my belief system? Okay, the reason you are where you are is because of your belief system. So the goal is to change the belief system. So some of y'all will stop because you fear losing connection. This is one of your fears. Okay, another fear can be what happens after death. Will I go to hell for doing this? Some people do think that. What's going to happen after death? Will I die and will I go to hell for trying to do something like this? So here you are now. You've taken a journey up to this point. Now, fear is there. You can either go past the fear barrier, which is paying extra money. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Fine. But if you do have it, this is what's going to stop you. One of these fears. Or just flat out low teachability. You just have no ability to get out of your own thinking patterns. And that's the whole issue in the first place. The reason you are where you are is because you think the way you think. Somebody who's ready to change, they hate the way they think because it got them where they are and they're tired of it. God give them a new identity. That identity becomes a desire. That desire becomes your thinking and feeling. I want something new. Law of attraction brings you a how that you can take action on. And this is one of them. Now, that's for people who want to really start it right away. Now, if you don't have money, I'm going to give you an option. Okay? If you don't have money, I'm going to give you an option. You can get into one of our free boot camps. Our next free boot camp is going to happen later in April. So if you want to get in that boot camp, we do not invite everybody to the boot camp. But if you want to get in the boot camp, it's going to happen later April. You must be in the Telegram group. Does not cost anything. And you have to engage. Okay? Simple. You got to engage. We are only going to give you one free boot camp. What is the boot camp going to do? It's going to help you get out of your self-sabotaging patterns. It's going to help you kickstart that process. Now, will it change you forever? Could. It's possible. But is it more likely to change you forever? No. You're going to have to do something after that. So I'm just being real with you. Somebody say, transform your life in 4 days. Okay. No, you will not transform your life in 4 days. You will transform your life every day over the course of years. That is how change happens. It does not happen in a day. It don't happen in a weekend. It happens every single day of making the right choice over a course of years. That's the reality. And it takes 3 to 5 years to actually change the way you want to change. If you want to make total change in your life, that's almost permanent. That's how that works. So here's the issue. Here you are, and now you got a terror barrier where you are either thinking about what other people are going to think about you, the fact that you don't have the money, the fact that you don't want to lose connection with somebody because people like us don't do things like this, or you fearful of God, what God is going to do to you because of your belief system. This is the issues that can stop you from taking action and liberate yourself. You know what this voice comes from? In the Kabbalah, it's called Satan. It's an opponent. Or Stephen Pressfield called it resistance. Its only job is to stop you from achieving your actual destiny. That's the only reason it exists. Now, why does it exist? Why would God allow something like that to exist? Because if you're going to actually earn the light, you have to overcome some type of an opponent. Without an opponent, there is no choice. So the opponent has to come in, and this is how I know you feel like this. Somebody say, I ain't scared of nobody. That's the most fearful people. I ain't scared of no man. I ain't scared of nobody. Okay. You wouldn't even be saying that if you weren't. Every man has fear. It's built in. But you don't have to listen to the fear. If you listen to the fear, what you do is you go right back to where you are. Now, tomorrow, you might come back to another live. Or you just keep consuming free information, free, because you're scared of going broke. But the people who actually make progress are people who become totally teachable, which means they pay the money, the time, and the energy. Okay, good. I wouldn't let it stop you. If I was you, I wouldn't let it stop you either. So anybody got any questions before we get off here? Shout out to YouTube. YouTube been on here. He said, poor man got 2 people. I love it. See, people really vocalize their own head. It's like, how would I feel if I only had 2 people? I would be so insecure. I wouldn't be able to talk if I only had 2 people. Why would I start if I only had 2 people? I'm so insecure. I need people to validate me in order to be owned. So you add victim to your own external environment. Weak-minded. That's how it works. Fear. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. on a regular, consistent basis. But this is what I recommend: just get in the Telegram, because in the Telegram I'm gonna start posting in the Telegram certain thoughts about the system. So I'm gonna give you the full recipe. Oh yeah, two people always become more. But the point is, even if I don't have two people, it's irrelevant. I'm still on. I'm still who I am. My boy, what Jay Shaw, he call it being clear, being calibrated, being confident. I'm calibrated to a reality that I got already. It's irrelevant what's currently happening. See, that's how you ignore your physical circumstances that don't know how, and it's not the how you want. It's irrelevant. You stay focused on the why and the law. All right. I actually talked way too much today. If y'all got any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm gonna jump off on YouTube.